Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first Conic release video. We're excited to launch this new monthly video series where we bring you the latest improvements and the new features in Conic. I'm Barbara. I recently joined Conic and I have a background in architecture and 6 years experience in the BIM software. And today I'm joined by Jacob, our head of customer success and a civil engineer. And as we take you through this month's new features and improvements. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. We'll make sure to reply them soon. And this month, we have some exciting new updates to share, including a brand new mobile Conic version. So, Jacob, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Barbara. So, when opening the new version of Conic, you'll be greeted by this What's New in Conic dialog, which gives you the main new improvements of this new release. The most important update of this release is the mobile version. So I'll get back to that later. Right now, let me focus on the slightly smaller updates, which are the redesigned command center, some enhanced modeling features, and some other small things. So let's go to the model. Let me head to the 7th floor and show you what this redesigned command center is all about. So the command center is this search bar here at the top where you can search for objects in your model, search for tools, and basically the command center will also guide you through the different tools that you're using. So let me, for example, start the Add Layer tool. What you'll see here is the expanded command center, which basically combines all the different input parameters for each tool in one single environment. So in this case, the Add Layer tool needs a material, a thickness, parts where to add the new layer, and some other options. If I want to know some more information about this tool, I can always click this little chevron icon here, which will expand the command center even further, give some explanation about the specific tool, a little video. But for now, let me just collapse this again, choose a material. Let's say I want to add some plasterboard with a certain thickness. I can choose to, for example, add this material to an entire room instead of just to one wall. And let me add a part where I want to apply this new material. So I've now added this plaster layer to the entire room that I clicked in. So basically, the idea of this redesigned center is to help you further guide you through this tool.
Okay, I love it how you added the little video. I think that's much more intuitive. So this redesign makes it actually easier and quicker to understand how to navigate.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Our second improvement this month is the modeling enhancements, and there are quite a few. Can you walk us through them?
Yeah. So there's indeed a couple of small improvements and enhancements around the modeling capabilities in Conic. Most of them have to do with snapping and with precision. So the first one I'm going to show you is snapping to angular increments. So when you now rotate, let's say, an object or a slicing plane, now you'll automatically snap to angular increments of, in this case, 45 degrees, which makes it easier, of course, to snap to precise values. Same goes actually for translations or for linear movements. However, this is less notable because right now it's snapping to increments of 1 millimeter. This snapping to increments of 1 millimeter was not yet the case, which meant basically previously if you would move around this table in this case, you would probably end up moving this table by 724.3526 millimeters or something. Right now it's actually a rounded value. Another improvement that we made around snapping is the ability to basically to override snap targets. So what do I mean by that? Let me push-pull this countertop here to make it a bit longer and show you how snapping actually currently works in Conic. So when I move my manipulator in this case, you will see at certain points some blue faces highlighted. So let's say in this case here, this wall is being highlighted, which basically means I'm currently aligning this countertop with that wall. Now, which objects and which faces are being highlighted during this movement of the manipulator is actually governed by a couple of factors. For example, large geometry will be more likely to be selected as a possible snap target rather than small geometry. Objects of the same type as the one I'm currently editing will also be more likely to be snapped to. All these kinds of factors basically decide whether or not a certain geometry is shown as a possible snap target. However, that also means that if you want to snap to, let's say, something very small, and it doesn't show up in your possible snap targets, it can be quite frustrating. So for example, let's say I want to align this countertop with the other countertop here. This countertop actually doesn't appear in my possible snap target, so I cannot snap to it. What we have added in this new feature, or this new release of Conic, is the ability to override this by simply hovering over the face that you want to snap to until it highlights in blue, like here. I can click to it, and now it will actually snap to that actual location. And one final improvement around modeling in Conic has to do with push-pulling. So we have added support for multiple faces as input for the push-pull operation. So what you can do now is you can select not only one face, but actually also a second, a third, and so on. So I can select as many faces as I want. And then if I push or pull on the manipulator, all of those faces will be push-pulled at the same time.
Great. What do you think? How do these updates translate to real-world use?
Well, so basically it allows you to work more precisely and more accurately without having to do manual adjustments. So it's also just a lot faster to actually get precise modeling done in Conic.
Okay, I think that's a really valuable improvement. Then we go to the third update this month, the report panel. You've moved all the calculations to the background. Can you show us something
Yeah,
about that?
exactly. So what is meant by that? So of course, the report panel allows you to calculate quantities from objects in your model. So in this case, for example, the net volume of the beams and so on. Now, these quantities are calculated from the actual geometry. They're not based on IFC-based quantities that were reported or anything. It's actually based on the geometry. But that also means that, for example, for complex geometry, calculating, let's say, the length of a complex object is sometimes not really a straightforward task, which means it can sometimes take, let's say, a half a second, a few seconds, depending on how much geometry you actually have selected. The calculation of these quantities now happens in the background, meaning that you don't have to sit and wait around for these calculations to finish. So let me show that by selecting some complex geometry, for example, the furnishing elements, which contains these, let's say, these curved chairs and so on. And let's calculate the length for each furnishing element. So let's set this to length. And you'll see the calculation is actually going on right now, but I can still interact with the application. I can still do things like inspect objects and so on, instead of having to wait around for this calculation to finish.
Okay, so less waiting, more doing.
Yeah, exactly. There's also another improvement that we've made to the report panel, which is exactly this here. So you see this with this warning triangle. Basically, this triangle shows up when a certain calculation for some reason did not go as expected. In this case, I wanted to know the length of the different furnishing elements in my model, but apparently the length failed to calculate for some entities. What you can now do is I can right-click this and go for the quantities preview, which will show me the different how the different lengths were calculated. So these blue lines are basically the length of each cabinet in this case, the length of this countertop, and so on. But I also see that two tables are highlighted in red. This basically means that the calculation for these two tables failed, which gives you, of course, some visual feedback why something went wrong. Okay, great. And I think now it's time for something very exciting. Conic is now available on mobile. This means that you can access your models and projects anytime, anywhere. Yes, exactly. Let me switch to my tablet here. So I have a tablet open where I have the latest Conic release open. So you can see here the dashboard where I currently have a project open with different models. I can head to my different projects here at the top. All the projects I have access to in Conic will be visible here. And I can just open any model. Right now it's limited to one single model, so you cannot open multiple models at the same time. That's a limitation of the current mobile version of Conic. But anyhow, let's just dive in. Let's open, let's say, the structural model here. All right, and show you how this behaves in the mobile version of Conic. So you can see here the user interface looks the exact same as in the browser or desktop application of Conic. So the exact same user interface, the exact same tools. For example, let's say I want to do some measuring. Maybe I want to know the length of this beam here. Basically, all of the tools that we have implemented already so far in Conic Desktop are also now available on mobile. And of course, they have been optimized for touch devices. Let's say I want to know some more information about this beam. I can open the inspect panel and find all of the properties. Maybe I want to open the browse panel and do some searching of different beam types. Let's say all of the beams of this 12 by 19 type in the model. Maybe I'll put them in scope. Maybe I want to also know the length of this beam. So all of these tools that you know already from the desktop application are available here. I will note that right now the mobile version is a read-only environment. So you can see here at the top left, there's a read-only button showing. We will allow data editing in the future version of Conic. So right now it's read-only.
But it's available on all devices.
Exactly. So it's available on iOS, Android, so smartphones and tablets. And of course, as it was already available on Conic, on desktop, Mac, and in the browser.
Okay. So now wherever you are, the site managers, contractors, the clients, everybody can access the model in real time.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. There's one final improvement. It's not really a product update. It's just a general improvement. To get you going with Conic is basically our help center. So if you head to help.conic.com, our entire help center has been redesigned and redone. So all of the articles are now neatly categorized and grouped, so you can easily find all of the different tools and their information about the tools. If you want to search something, let's say you want to know something about projects, you can really easily find your way in the different help articles. So this should help you on your way.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jacob, for the clear explanation. I think some real powerful features have been added to Conic. Make sure to try them out. With Conic, there's no need for high-end software. Just open the browser and get started. And plus, you can invite unlimited users to collaborate. Because continuity is key, and with Conic, your team stays connected without limitations. So you can explore Conic now for free. Just head to conic.com, and without downloading anything, you can start right away. So you can test the sample model or upload your own, like your IFC model or your Revit file. And I think that's it for now for this month's release video. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments and we'll get back to you soon. And of course, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn so you never miss any update video of us. See you next month.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.